Right after I moved to London, I met my husband. And
I didn't, a Korean.
Yes, and I didn't speak English.
So two of you met and you didn't speak English well back then. And then, so fast forward, like you were a model and then you graduated from school and I think you moved to England, right?
That's right.
What was the reason? Why did you move to England?
Okay, that story is also from high school because other people were treating me very badly. Also, I didn't study well because I didn't have any motivation. Why do I have to study? Like, it doesn't make sense. Everyone just hates me. So my exam in the end, the high school, it didn't went well. And everyone else went to university, but me. And I just realized very late I was supposed to study harder and get more points for the university. So I went for a 2 years course in Hungary, which gave me more points. It's called OKI. I don't know.
I heard about it, yeah.
Yes. And also I realized I need another exam to get more points, and that's supposed to be maybe a language exam. I used to study German before for like 8 years, but I really hated. I'm really sorry, but I hated that language, and I was like, I want to learn English because anywhere you can go to work. I mean, if you go Asia or Australia or anywhere, people everywhere speaking English. It's really basic language, and I want to travel. I want to see the world. So I decided to learn English, so I can get my English exam to get more points for the university. But because I only had 2 years, so after 2 years of the course, I decided to go to London so I can learn the fastest way the language in London.
And did you want to enroll in a language course, or you thought you go there, you work, and while working you will just pick up the language?
Yes, that's what I thought. I thought I'm gonna just move there and live there, and maybe the language gonna stuck in my head. And I want to use in everyday life when I go for shopping or taking the train or talking to friends. So yeah, I was thinking like this, I'm gonna pick up the language.
Did it work out well?
Not really, because at the beginning when I moved there, it was October actually, in 2018. Right after I moved to London, I met my husband. And
I didn't, a Korean.
Yes, and I didn't speak English.
So two of you met and you didn't speak English well back then?
Yes.
Wow.
He already got his C2, level C2.
In English?
In English.
Which is like there's one more level because like Koreans don't have this like C levels. It's a European standard. So your C1 is the highest and C2 is the second highest.
Yes. So he got the C2 level in English already. And I still remember our first date, our conversation was like this. It was like me, like, oh, picture. Oh, go there. I was talking like this, and my husband was a little bit annoyed. My husband told me that at the time my brain was like a sponge because I didn't learn English even though he told me, but still my English got improved a lot.
Yeah, I think once you live in a country, you like kind of naturally, when you interact with locals, you kind of naturally learn it. You don't have to just sit down in front of a book and study. Like we all have different methods of learning. And then how did the two of you decide to get married at the end?
I honestly was shocked when he proposed to me. It was in 2019, September. We came our first trip to Korea together because it was Chuseok. So he brought me and introduced his family for the first time. And he took me for a miyongshin, hairdresser. He took me there, and I was like, why you want me to have a nice hair for tonight? And he was like, just we're gonna have a nice dinner, a nice date night. And I was like, okay. And I was wearing nice clothes. He took me a bar and he proposed to me there.
Wow.
We been crying a lot actually, both of us. And it was in 2019, September, yes.
So after about like 1 year of dating, was it?
Yes, 1 year.
Mm.
And also because we moved together, so we knew already how we can live with each other.
Wasn't it difficult because of the language?
No, actually, surprisingly, we understood each other. We didn't have any fights. Everything was like, okay, you did this and I'm gonna do this. Oh, okay, it's still working like that. And this is why my husband decided to marry with me, because also I followed him to Scotland. We moved to Scotland together. And everything was just working very fine, even though we moved together. So yeah, he proposed to me, and after, in 2020, COVID came, and his visa started to expire in the UK, and he wanted to stay in Scotland, and he couldn't. I mean, he was gonna apply for a visa in an Ardbeg distillery in Scotland, but because of the COVID, they couldn't give him. So he had to come back to Korea, but he was like, he can't live without me, and I have to come too.
How was that for you? Like, what did you think about Korea and moving here?
I was thinking that Korea should be better than Scotland, because the place where we used to live in Scotland, there was a small island with 3,000 people, and there was nothing. And I was like, okay, let's go Korea. And he brought me here with the tourist visa, but to find another visa was very hard. So he said, well, anyway, I proposed to you. You said yes. So we were gonna marry anyway. Why we're not doing the marriage visa? And I said yes, okay, why not? So we got our paper documents.
So did you get married here in Korea or in England?
In Korea.
In Korea.
In Korea, yes. So we got married in Korea, and since then we are living here.
Wow, that's also a really interesting story. Like, I think if you find each other, because you said like language was not an issue, I think many people, including me, are like scared, like, yeah, but if you meet somebody from another culture, how will you able to communicate to each other? And then you don't only have the language barrier, but you also have the cultural barrier. So I think your story is really inspiring, that if you really meet the right person, as you said, you don't need so many words to communicate, because like you kind of understand each other. So I think that's a really amazing story. And I really admire you that you're so flexible to say, oh, you want to move to Scotland? Let's go. Oh, you want to move to Korea? Let's go.
These days I'm not like this. At the time I was way too curious. I really wanted to see the world, and I was like, I'm young, why not?